Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you the Oxygen Builder command line. This is the OB-CLI from Editor Enhancer. I've created a section here. This section has a custom attribute attached to it. It has an H2, some text up here. It's got a set of columns, which is set by a class called columns. And down here, there are a couple of little columns that are set up with the just single column class. And that adds a few general styles to it. So with the command line, we can actually build this thing really, really quick with just through a command that uses Emmet to parse out all of the data. So keep in mind that those classes are set up in here along with those attributes, and we're just going to do that all through the command line as well. Of course, you could duplicate this, but let's assume that you just don't have this on a page, but you have all of your classes set up, and you want to rebuild it. I'm going to keep this open just for now, because then we can compare and contrast what happens with the CLI. So to toggle the CLI, you're going to press Control or Command / on your keyboard. That will open up this command line here, and then it will allow you to run whatever commands you have available. For this one, we're going to be using Emmet, so we're going to type in Emmet. And if you're not familiar with Emmet, I'll leave documentation in the description. But for this one, we're going to just simply type out using kind of a similar syntax to actual CSS what we want to see on screen rendered in Oxygen. So for this one, I'm going to set up a section, and this section has a class called center, which is just centering that heading and the paragraph text up there. This one also has an attribute, so we're going to set that as new attribute equals, I don't know, just like attribute value. And then inside of that, we're going to have an H2 and a little paragraph. And then following that, we're going to have a div with a class called, with a class columns. Inside of that, we're going to have a set of like replicated divs. And so to do that, we're going to create a group with the parentheses. So we'll open the parenthesis here and make sure to close that later. Inside of this is going to be a div with the class column without the S. It's just a regular column. Inside of that div is going to be an H3 and a P and a button. We're going to close that parenthesis. Make sure you close those. And we want to repeat this 3 times. So Emmet is smart, and it will use the *3, like times 3, to repeat that. And then we can either click Run Command or press Enter or Return on your keyboard. And that will just render it right down here. And so there we have it. Right, so if you have something like this on another page or whatever, and you want to just recreate that really quick, and you don't want to have to open it up or figure out where it is, copy it, and paste it, and all that stuff, then you can absolutely do it this way. There are some other little things that we can do, so I'm just going to delete these really quick. So first of all, we just use the Emmet command to add like a section. I mean, that'll add a section right there. If we wanted to use a shorthand, there's also the EM section, which will do the exact same thing. It's just like a little easier than having to type out Emmet every time. There are also some other little commands. So like if we wanted to change this ID over here, we could either, when we create the section, we could say, I want this to be, using the hashtag like in CSS, I want this to be called like my cool section. And then that will be added, and you'll see that that's up there. If we have a section like this, and we've already created it, and we want to just change the ID really quick, we can just say ID my cool. We'll do sec so that it's not duplicated. And you'll see that that updates over here. Also, if we want to rename something, we can say, all right, rename this to my section. And so the name gets updated. And if we want to add some classes, we can say new class 1, new class 2, and they separate by spaces. And so then I just press enter, and we can see those down there. So this is a brief introduction, and I'll have more documentation linked below. Feel free to leave a comment. Thanks.